Hi there. My name is Eoin Colfer, and I am a writer from Wexford Town, although I'm living in Dublin. And I'm best known for this book, um, Artemis Fowl. And there's the proof that I wrote it. My name's on the bottom, although I suppose I could be just pretending to be Eoin Colfer, but I'm not. And if you don't believe me, you can ask my niece Linda, who might be around there somewhere, who's been involved with the guides for as long as I can remember. And so when I heard you guys were doing a stay-at-home reading program, I really wanted to be involved. So I would like to read for the Girl Guide members of the CGI a little story. Now, I could read this book, but that would take about 6 months, and hopefully we will be free to go out of the house before the end of that. So I want to read this one instead. And this is called Mariella, Queen of the Skies. And it's about a little girl with big dreams who was really, really smart and just like all you guides. So I thought you might appreciate it. Okay, so Mariella, Queen of the Skies. Illustrated by the wonderful Katie Halford. I really love her pictures. Chapter 1, Right and Wrong. There once was a girl called Mariella who was super smart and spent her days inventing. Mariella's head was always bursting with ideas, but she was only happy when she could turn her ideas into real things. Most of the time, Mariella thought her ideas were great. Two examples of this were her robot surprise ball, which kept her baby brother Harrison busy for hours, and then the jump rope Twizzler, which was very handy if a girl only had one hand to do skipping with, and you can see them there. There is the surprise ball, which does all sorts of things that the brother's not expecting, and there's the Twizzler, who is turning the skipping rope for Mariella, who we see there dressed up in her lab coat. But sometimes things did go wrong. One example of this was the toilet seat sensor, which Mariella invented to stop Buster the dog drinking from the bowl. Mariella didn't like to talk about that one. I'm not surprised that Dad got an eyeful of toilet water, which nobody really wants. Chapter 2, Spinning Tops and Bananas. That's a strange title. Who would think of that? There are not enough hours in the day for all my inventing ideas, Mariella thought. As soon as the sun set, it was off to bed for Mariella, and no arguments, and the bedtime always seemed to arrive at the wrong moment. One evening, Mum came down to the lab, and Mariella was really busy and not in the mood for interruptions, frankly. Bedtime, sweetie, Mum said, and I do not want to hear that you are inventing. 10 more minutes, Mum, please, Mariella pleaded. I am inventing. Right now I'm working on a spinning top with 15 blades that could change forever the way we peel bananas. That looks quite dangerous to me, actually. I don't know if I would try that. Mum was not impressed. That sounds dangerous. I agree with Mum, she said. And we already have inventions for peeling bananas. They're called fingers. Oh, mums are so sarcastic sometimes. Mariella knew that there was no point in arguing with Mum. She shut down her equipment and tramped upstairs, and she had 1 cup of hot chocolate and 2 stories. And then she stood under the duvet, the one with the picture of the periodic table. The last thought Mariella had before she dropped off to sleep was, bedtime, no more. So she's pretty fed up with bedtime. Chapter 3, Day and Night. Mariella woke up thinking the exact same thing. Bedtime no more. She put her big brain to work to solve the problem of bedtime and spent all that weekend trying to invent something that would get her out of going to bed. First of all, she built a fake Mariella to take her place, but Buster the dog was not fooled by that for an instant. Then she put up sun lamps outside all the windows so her parents would think it was still daytime, even when it was bedtime. But unluckily for Mariella, her father took Buster outside to go walkies and found out that it was, in fact, the middle of the night. Chapter 4, Antimatter Rays and Holes in the Fabric of Time. That's quite complicated sounding. Mariella saw that the problem of bedtime no more was far too big for one brain, so the next Monday she asked for help from her science teacher, Mrs. Plank. Mrs. Plank understood Mariella's problem. Scientists have always wished for more hours in the day, said Mrs. Planck. There are only two ways to make this happen. First, you could build an antimatter ray and blast a hole in the fabric of time itself. Of course, that could destroy the universe. Mariella didn't like the idea of destroying the universe. There's her teacher, Mrs. Planck, explaining her dad wouldn't like her to destroy the universe. And what's the second way? She asked her teacher. You must find a way to travel west at a constant 1,000 miles per hour, Mrs. Planck said. Then the darkness of night will never catch you. 1,000 miles per hour, Mariella thought. That is faster than the fastest bird can fly. But I am not a bird, she thought as she put one foot up on a box. I am an inventor. That's her superpower, being an inventor. Chapter 5. Cannons and catapults on a mashed apple, 2. Mariella went home and drew her plans on the wallpaper in her bedroom. She thought about shooting herself out of a cannon, but she didn't want to wake the baby. She thought about a giant catapult, but cutting down all those trees was not very good for the planet. There she is, making her plans. You always need to make plans if you're an inventor. At last, Mariella decided on a rocket-powered flying suit. Mariella invented all morning using odds and ends she found around the house or in Dad's shed. It was stuff she was sure Dad would not miss. Hours later, Mariella said goodbye to her parents after lunch. I'm going to orbit the globe at speeds in excess of 1,000 miles an hour, Mariella told Mum. Well, that's lovely, sweetheart, said her mum, who was prodding a spoon of mashed apple at Harrison's head. Make sure you're home before nightfall. Mariella put her foot up on a handy box. Trust me, Mum, she said. I will be everywhere before night falls. That sounds quite heroic. Chapter 6, Spiders and Stars. Lift off in the rocket-powered flying suit was a total success, but it did cause a 5-mile traffic jam in town. Oops. With a little help from a flock of passing geese, Mariella built up enough speed to escape the night. Her speedometer, which she had made from a washing machine dial, told Mariella that she was travelling at 1,050 miles per hour. It also told Mariella that she was out of fabric softener. What? The world looks so different, thought Mariella, from high up. The city looked like a village, and the village looked like toy towns, and toy towns looked like photos of toy towns, and photos of toy towns looked like beetles, and beetles looked like spiders. Look, there she is, in her jet-powered suit, flying high above the city. Mariella could see the darkness full of stars flowing behind her, but it couldn't catch her. Bedtime, no more, she shouted at the top of her voice. Higher and higher Mariella flew, faster and faster. Sometimes her suit malfunctioned, but she always found clever ways to fix it. Oh no, she's falling down. I hope she can fix that pretty quickly. Sometimes she needed a nap, but she found clever ways of taking 40 winks. Look, she's hitchhiking on the back of a lovely eagle. Soon the dark was so far behind her that Mariella didn't need to sleep at all. This gave her plenty of time to think up clever ideas and sketch them into her notebook. She even had enough spare time to land to take on more fuel or for a snack. And every time Mariella passed over her own house, she dropped off presents from faraway lands. The darkness couldn't get close to her. Mariella was queen of the skies. Bedtime was a thing of the past. Chapter 7, 3 days and 3 nights. But one day, Mariella's flying suit had a very serious malfunction. No problem, Mariella thought. All I need to do is pick one of the amazing ideas in my head to fix it. And so Mariella searched her brain for a solution. But her brain was totally empty. Mariella was shocked. Not a single light bulb went off in her mind. She was out of ideas. In all her 9 years, this had never happened to Mariella before. And if you could take a look at her face, you might be able to tell what the problem is. Just look at her expression there. What's that expression? This is a disaster, Mariella thought. What good is an inventor without any ideas? Mariella looked back and saw that the darkness grew closer and closer. Mariella diverted all power to the boosters on her suit, but it wasn't enough. Soon she felt her toes tingle and fall asleep, and then her feet, Her dad had a joke that he often told her. I hate it when my feet fall asleep in the day, he'd say almost every evening, because then they stay awake all night. Ha ha! Mariella always laughed when Dad made his favourite joke, but she was too sleepy to laugh this time. The darkness crept over Mariella like a soft blanket, and it was so quiet and comfy in there that all of a sudden a snooze seemed like the best idea on the world. Mariella activated her automatic gliding gear and stretched herself out on a fluffy little cloud where she slept for 3 days and 3 nights. Look at her. Oh, she's so quiet and peaceful. I don't know about you, but I love a little snooze. And if you can find a handy cloud, so much the better. Chapter 8, Jumping Jacks and Snakeskins. When Mariella woke from her sleep on the cloud, she felt different. No, I don't feel different, she thought. I feel just the same as I used to. Mariella's head was bursting with ideas again. What is going on here, she asked. An albatross as it flew past. Where did all these ideas come from? Onk, said the albatross, and it flapped away on its huge wings. Onk is not the right answer, Mariella said. So after a think, Mariella solved this problem. She used a kind of science sentence called an equation. The equation went like this. T equals time, EH equals empty head, FH equals full head. Which meant that T minus 72 hours equals empty head, T plus question mark equals full head. So what was the question mark? There was only one possible answer. The question mark equals sleep. Mariella was a super smart person, and soon she worked out that while she had been asleep, her brain had recharged. More sleep meant better ideas. Time plus sleep equals full head. Aha! Said Mariella. Now I've worked it out. Sleep makes you smarter. Mariella did 25 jumping jacks to get her blood pumping nice and fast, and then she used her fresh ideas to fix the flying suit. It was so easy. Mariella used an old snakeskin to patch her wing, and then she used the heat from an erupting volcano to make the patch stick. Mariella couldn't believe that she hadn't thought of that before. I mean, it's a good idea, Mariella, but you are standing quite close to the edge of a volcano there. I don't know if that's very safe. Why don't you fly away as quickly as you can? Oh, she did. Chapter 9, New Friends and Lollipops. I like both of those things. Mariella made one last orbit of the Earth, but this time she took it nice and slow. Mariella realized that things look much more beautiful when you don't zoom past them at 1,000 miles an hour. Mariella slept when she was tired, and she even landed a few times to make new friends and take some selfies. And there she is in Pisa, and we know that because there's a leaning tower behind her, which is quite famous. At last, Mariella arrived home to a hero's welcome. Her baby brother Harrison's weight had increased by 4%, and his hugs were now 10% tighter. Oh, look at him, just the cutest. I know lots of you guys probably have little brothers and sisters, and I bet you love giving them hugs. That night, Mariella was writing up a report when Harrison toddled upstairs to ask her if she could invent an everlasting lollipop. Mariella put her foot up on a box and said, "Let me think about it." And she did. And that is the end of Mariella, Queen of the Skies. There's a picture of me and Katie Halford on the back, and as I said, she did all these wonderful drawings. So I hope you enjoyed that story. I certainly enjoyed telling it to you. I hope you're all keeping safe and staying in your houses, and maybe just having a little bit of exercise when you have to. And hopefully we'll all be back out on the streets and in the parks and swimming in the sea pretty soon. So to all the Girl Guide members of CGI, this is Eoin